Welcome to video number 4. We're going to talk about on-page optimization basics. So in this particular video, we're going to talk about the fundamentals and the concepts. And then of course, in video number 5, once you have learned this, we will begin to implement everything that I teach you. So once you have understand LSI and you've gotten your keywords, it's time to understand how on-page optimization works. Let's discuss your domain name. Should you use brand names or keyword names? There's a really big debate around this, and sometimes keyword names work and sometimes brand names work. Now, this is what we found, however, and you kind of want to look at it at a long-term view, because if you do something now that might work, and if you do something that is essentially kind of on that gray line of gaming the system, then even though it works now, 3 years later, Google will come with a Google slap and it'll slap you off the face of the top 10. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to stick with something that is consistent, something that's long-term, and that will actually work. Now, obviously, we don't know the future, but we can look at the past and in the last decade and see what has come and gone. Now, Google is actually moving away from domains that are gaming the system. They absolutely love brand names. They absolutely love high authority sites. Now, here's what I mean by a brand name. Keyword names or keyword stuffed domains are not really good. And what that means is, let's say, for example, we want to stick with the theme roof repair. So we can say roof repair city-state.com. And you'll actually see a lot of websites that are that particular domain name. So that's what we call keyword stuff domains. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but you'll see in just a minute what will happen. Brand names are obviously some sort of brand name that either has something to do with a keyword or it does not have to. So let's say, for example, Coca-Cola. There's no dictionary word for Coca-Cola except for that we know Coca-Cola produces Coke as in soda, and we know in the dictionary that's a brand name. So Google tends to like those, and I'll show you in a minute why. So let's say, for example, www.roofrepaircitystate.com. You're going to see a lot of that, but here's the complications. If you create a category such as, for example, roof, and then you create a page that is roof repair, then if you look at it, you can see that there is a lot of repetitive keywords in here, and Google does not really like to see repetitive keywords, because to them, that is like keyword stuffing and keyword spamming. And maybe that's something that you could get away with a decade ago, but not necessarily nowadays. Now, let's take an example of a brand name. So let's say, for example, the brand name of this roof repair company is called maybe the Happy Shingle or something, or the Red Shingle or something. If you think about that, and it doesn't have the word roof in it or repair, then it's not keyword spamming. So if it says theredshingle.com/roof/repair, now that is nice because it's not repeating the keyword over and over. So if in the future Google decides to change, yes, it does work now, and I will say it still works now. But if Google decides to change and say that any type of keyword stuffing in the domain itself can harm you, then you're kind of at a loss. So that's just something to keep in mind at that point. Now I want to talk about URL structures. Within WordPress itself, you have something called permalinks. And this gives you the option to basically make your URLs more search engine friendly or even human friendly. And what I would do is I would choose the post name option. And I'll show you what that looks like and how to go about doing that in video number 5. But for now, I just want to tell you right off the bat, you don't want your domain to look like this: www.yourdomain.com / something like 1232/3323, or even $123 = 123. You definitely don't want your domain to look like that, and it looks like that by default. So within WordPress, you want to set the post name option, and by doing that, this is what's going to happen. It's going to say yourdomain.com /category/keyword-title. So I will show you all of that in the next video, but I want to make sure that you understand these basics. So domain, try to stick with a brand name, and then choose the post name option within WordPress. So what are things that stay consistent? And I know this is one of the questions that a lot of people ask, and this is something that is a good question, because what does and what has stayed consistent? Well, most of the above has stayed the same, except for the brand name / keyword domain name kind of thing. But it's inevitable, and if you think about it, if you're branding your company and you're building an actual company with a brand that has an identity, then as Google looks at your brand name and looks at the content you put out, it begins to put a name to a face. So as you can see, the most of the above has stayed the same. Now, what are things that have changed that you need to be aware of? Like we said earlier, brand names versus keyword stuff domains are changing. So even though keyword stuff domains do work nowadays, and you could do it if you wanted to, but just keep in mind, those are things that are changing. So really what it comes down to, if you really think about it, try to avoid gaming the system. If you game the system and you kind of pull away from being human friendly, then that's when things can actually begin to hurt you. So just keep in mind, as I stated earlier in the mindset section, as long as you make things human friendly and you strive to engage with your visitors and get them to engage back, that's where you will begin to rank better. So bottom line, if you have to ask, what am I going to help my visitors or not? What am I doing? Am I doing something that is helping them? Great, keep doing it. Or am I doing something that is actually annoying them or hurting them? Don't do it. So that's kind of a question that you can look into. So with that said, let's move on to video number 5. And I'm going to talk about WordPress on-page optimization. And we're going to jump on to a real live WordPress site. So I'm going to assume that you know how to install WordPress and you have a WordPress site. So assuming that that is the base condition, I'm going to start from scratch where we have just installed a brand new WordPress install. And I'll walk you through step by step everything that we talked about in this particular video. Hello and welcome to video number 5. We are going to talk about WordPress on-page optimization, and we are going to do everything that we discussed in video number 4, and that will be implemented here. So we'll be discussing the URL structuring, categories, as well as site structure. So with that said, I assume that you will have a WordPress site available. So if you want to go ahead and log in and follow me along, or watch till the end and follow later, that's fine. But we're going to go ahead and log in to a live WordPress site, and I'll walk you through step by step. So right now I have logged into my WordPress administrator dashboard, and I want to say that if you don't have WordPress installed, it's super easy. If you have any problems, just contact your web hosting company, and they'll typically point you to a software application that will install the WordPress site really fast within less than 3 steps. So get that site up and running, log into your WordPress administrator link, which that install typically will provide you with. But if not, you can always go to yourdomain.com/wp-admin. So that's how to get here. And once you have logged in, you want to go under settings right here. So you're not going to be able to see these, but you will see settings. So click on settings and then go to permalinks. So permalinks, as I stated earlier in the previous video, this will allow you to make your URL structure more search engine friendly and human friendly as well, so they know exactly where they are at. So as you can see, by default, it shows the /?p=123. Now that's not human friendly and that's not search engine friendly at all. What you want to do is you want to choose post name, and then all you need to do is click on save changes. The next thing I want to show you how to do is how to create categories, because you want to make sure that you categorize your content, you categorize your pages, and categorize your posts. Now all you need to do is under posts, as you can see here, you can see categories. So if you go to categories and there's tags as well, and you can add the category name. The slug is basically a URL friendly version of the name. So let's say, for example, your name of the category was a 2-word. So if we say something like metal roof, the slug will be all lowercase. So you type in metal-roof, and that just makes it SEO friendly. And then of course, I would add a description if you could. And another thing is utilize the LSI keywords that you grabbed earlier and enter them in here. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it really, really search engine friendly, as well as human friendly as well. And of course, if you have parent categories, you can create parent and child categories as well. Now, what I want to do right here is talk about site structure. So now you know permalinks, now you know categories. What you generally speaking want to do before you actually go out and create your content is to figure out the different categories of your content, or how you can split up your site and structure your site in such a way where the search engines know what category is what. So what I would do is this, and I'm creating a kind of a flow chart here so that you can visually see it better. So I would have a category here, another category here, and another category here. So depending on how many categories that you want. Now, if you think back at the keyword intent in the buyer cycle, remember we have the buyer doesn't really know what they're looking for. So they're currently researching. And then the buyer knows kind of what they're looking for. So they're looking at different brand names. And then maybe you have a category filled with buyers or buying. And of course, you can split this up further if you would like to. But if you really think about it, if you start placing your content that is related to maybe researching how to repair this, how to repair that, just kind of information and article content that is helpful, but allows your customers or your prospects to make a better decision. And then comparing, maybe you can compare your product and service versus another competing product or service. You can name them or you don't have to name them, but you want to pinpoint things that your prospects are really thinking about. And then of course, buying, articles that relate directly to buying, how to get them to take action, how to maybe get them to sign up for a freebie in return for their email address to build a lead magnet. So this could be buying, or this could be, getting people on your list. Now, apart from this, you also want to think about categories like categorization of roofs, maybe metal roofs, maybe ceramic roofs, maybe tin roofs, maybe specific types of things also need to be categorized as well. So obviously your content or your page and post would be underneath that category. So you want to make sure that you do something like this and do the same thing under here and under here as well. So maybe you want to use these as tags, and then you want to use the categories as such, different types of roofs, different types of repairs, and everything like that. So if you do this, it's easier if you map it out first, and then you could go under here, you can create the categories. You can also go to tags and create tags as well. And tags will allow you to connect content. So for example, if a bunch of pieces of content were related to, researching or even comparison charts, you could have that and have the content that have comparison charts or comparisons in them tagged in there. So if somebody's doing comparison research and they're trying to compare everything, they'll be easily able to find those different comparison charts and what they're looking for. And you're helping people make a better decision, but at the same time, you're connecting your content to each other to help the search engines understand the relationships between your content and your keywords and everything like that. So, and later on in the future videos, I will show you how to create content and how to grab those LSI keywords and everything like that. But for now, you'll understand the overall structure, and now you can fill in the structure with content and everything else. All right, so let's move on to the next video.